So when someone dies in the universe of The Good Place, they are generally sent to one of two afterlife realms, depending on how good of a person they were on Earth. There's the good place of the title, where all of your needs and desires are fulfilled eternally.
Can I get a spaceship? No, one huge junior man. No, a Coke.
Or the bad place, where you are physically and or emotionally tortured forever. It's your basic heaven versus hell dichotomy. But there is this other character named Mindy St. Clair that was given a third option.
Yeah, so Mindy, look, you mostly sucked, but then you did this one good thing. I mean, I still think we should get you.
They didn't, but neither did we. A compromise was made. The neighborhood you are in now, by yourself. Welcome to eternal mediocrity. Welcome to the media place.
Now, of course, everyone wants to go to the good place, but I've watched every episode of this show a bunch of times, and I'm not actually sure that's the best option. So I'm gonna break down all three afterlife places as they're described on the show to make sure that I pick the best one, because this weird magic AI hologram thing told me I have to.
I will aid you in your presentation.
Hello?
Hello, Kevin. I regret to inform you that you are dead. I am here to facilitate your transition into the afterlife.
Really? Okay, so I was an atheist on Earth. Does that mean I was wrong?
As is usually the case with humans, some of your ideas were correct and some of them were incorrect.
Well, did anybody get it totally correct?
No. However, the American television series The Good Place was quite close. They described the afterlife about 91% correctly, but they did miss a key detail.
Which one is that?
Unlike the characters on the television series, you are permitted to choose your own afterlife.
Okay, I actually have a lot of thoughts about this.
As expected. Right this way.
This way? Can you give me something more comfortable to wear? I don't know why you got me in a tie. I never dress like this.
As you wish.
Much better. So let's start with the bad place. It seems like an automatic no, right? It's basically hell. Everybody there is a little bit of an asshole.
This is so exciting. I hope everyone gets hurt.
And of course, there's a bunch of demons and monsters who just love torturing people.
I can only play you a brief audio clip of what is happening there right now.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
The bad place is chosen more than you might expect. It is a safe space for humans who enjoy destruction and chaos. Also, the pain and humiliation is an element of many human fantasies.
You know what? No judgment here. Plus, everyone in the bad place dresses like 50s office workers, which is interesting, I guess. But I also could be selected to be a part of a psychological torture experiment where I'm tricked into thinking I'm in the good place, but am actually made to be miserable the whole time. We eventually learn that's what's happening in the first season of the show.
They're never gonna call a train to take us to the bad place. They can't, because we're already here. This is the bad place.
This is an interesting one, though. It's basically the idea of cognitive dissonance, which is the discomfort that we feel when we've got a bunch of contradictory ideas rattling around in our minds. Sometimes we literally and often without knowing change our core beliefs just so we don't have to deal with that discomfort. The four people on the show are told that they're in the good place, even though there is so much evidence to the contrary.
It's my grandmother's mafe. Fresh perch, slow roasted in a peanut sauce. Almost makes me forget how miserable I am right now.
Including the fact that they all pretty much sucked while they were alive, but they all believe it, in part due to their preconceived notions of what hell would be like. There's this famous experiment from the 50s. Yeah, that one. Do you have all these clips queued up or something? Anyway, people had to do these annoying, repetitive tasks for a super long time.
Our purpose was to provide each subject with the same dull job, so each would have a similar negative experience.
And afterward, they asked these people to lie to the next person and tell them that the task was actually fun, and they were offered payment in exchange for doing this.
We divide the group. Half will get $20 to tell someone the dull task is interesting. The other half get $1 for the same job.
And later, the researchers asked those same people if they enjoyed the task. Interestingly, their responses differed based on how much money they were paid.
Did you enjoy working on the manual task?
Well, it really wasn't too enjoyable. In fact, it was rather boring.
Did you enjoy working on the manual task?
Yes, I enjoyed it.
The group that only received $1 presumably felt uncomfortable with lying for such a small reward, so they convinced themselves that the task wasn't actually all that bad, or in other words, they convinced themselves that they didn't actually lie. In The Good Place, the humans initially accept without question that they've made it to heaven, even though it had been a frequently unpleasant experience. But they convinced themselves it was the truth, not only because an authority figure told them it was the truth.
You're in the good place. You're okay, Eleanor. You're in the good place.
But because it would be uncomfortable to imagine that they had been sent to the bad place. So an interesting question is, does it even matter which afterlife I choose if I'm able to convince myself to enjoy it regardless of how terrible it is? In the show, the conditions eventually get so emotionally exhausting that the humans figure out that they're actually in the bad place.
I love you. It's the only thing that makes any sense to me in this crazy world. And I
No, stop, Vicky. They figured it out.
They
know this is the bad place. Eleanor figured it out.
Oh, man! This was supposed to be my big moment. I just rehearsed that speech for like 3 hours.
And I think that's probably inevitable. You can only lie to yourself for so long. And in this particular case, remember, I'd have an infinite amount of time to figure it out. So for me, the bad place, including the fake good place that's actually the bad place, is definitely the worst of the three options, as you might have guessed. How exactly did I die? I don't remember.
Yes, when people die in particularly embarrassing or sudden ways, we erase the memory. It allows for a smoother transition. Are you sure you want to know? You were rewatching the episode of The Cosby Show where Cliff's homemade barbecue sauce makes everyone in his family become sexually aroused.
Haven't you ever noticed after people have some of my barbecue sauce, after a while when it kicks in, they get all huggy-buggy?
Do I have to watch this?
You do not. In fact, the last time you did, you cringed to death.
I cringed to death?
Yes, you cringed so hard that your body violently caved in upon itself, not unlike a building undergoing a controlled demolition.
Wow. The real dilemma comes when we think about The Good Place. So for most of the series, The Good Place only let in the very best of the best that humanity had to offer, and became so selective that basically no one could qualify because life had become so complex, every action had so many unintended consequences.
That's problem number one. Life is chaotic and messy and unpredictable. Problem number two. Even if you do somehow manage to make good decisions, you still lose points because of the unintended consequences.
Yeah, there are booby traps everywhere. Like, there's this chicken sandwich that if you eat it, it means you hate gay people. And it's delicious.
It is so good.
And to be clear, this is not my situation, right? I get to pick.
Yes, infinite punishment and or reward is a disproportionate response to finite actions informed by limited information.
But what about like murderers and stuff? Don't they deserve some kind of punishment?
No one deserves anything. Retribution is a primitive human concept designed to maintain social order through emotional validation. Humans spend a disproportionate amount of time designing ways to punish crimes instead of ways to prevent them.
And I guess they kind of addressed this on the show. The heroes realize that this system of reward and punishment is flawed, so they convince the judge to let them change the system.
Problem with the afterlife is not only that it's cruel, but that it's final. You get one shot on Earth, and regardless of the context of your life, you're placed somewhere, usually the bad place, forever, with no chance for redemption.
My neighborhood was built to torture humans, but it made them better. We want to create a system that works that way intentionally.
The judge, by the way, is the closest thing to there being someone in charge of all of this, but she doesn't make the rules so much as settle disputes. Also, she's the funniest character on the show.
I'm gonna miss everybody, I'm gonna miss everybody, I'm gonna miss everybody.
Ooh, is there a judge for real? And if so, is it Maya Rudolph? Because that would be awesome.
There is an analog to the judge, but it is also, as you described, a weird magic hologram thing.
Whack. In the new system, each newly deceased person has to take a morality test of some kind. If they pass, they get into the good place. And if they fail, they have to retake the test, hopefully having learned something from the previous test, essentially eliminating the bad place altogether and giving all humans a fair shot at eternal bliss. Now, this system is presented in the show as the perfect solution, but I've always found it kind of dubious. For one, how's this system for determining who's good and who's bad any different from the one that was used on Earth? It seems like you're going to run into the same problems, such as actions having a lot of unintended consequences. And sure, you've removed the bad place, but you've just replaced it with this weird purgatory where people are taking tests for thousands of years, possibly forever. And these tests, by the way, are designed through a collaboration of both good place and bad place architects, which means there's going to be elements of torture and manipulation. Like, they're not going to be fun.
Yes, this is an example of where the depiction diverges from reality. The vast majority of harmful human behaviors are ultimately rooted in a competition for influence and resources, but there is no scarcity in the afterlife, so cruelty has no incentive.
That's right, because near the end of the series, the heroes finally make it to the real, actual good place where all of their wants and desires are instantly granted.
See those green doors? You can use them to visit any time or place, real or imagined. Just think about where you want to go and what you want to do and walk on through.
So one could walk amongst the dinosaurs or witness the very first production of Hamlet at the Globe Theatre.
I'm gonna go Tokyo Drift for monkeys. See you in 1,000 years.
Which sounds awesome, but they very quickly run into a problem.
On paper, this is paradise. All your desires and needs are met, but it's infinite. And when perfection goes on forever, you become this glassy-eyed mush person.
Hello, I'm Tahani Al-Jamil.
I'm Paltabal. Welcome to paradise.
Yes, this is something we observed that your scholars refer to as the hedonic treadmill. When positive or negative things happen, humans may experience brief periods of joy or despair, but then quickly revert to their base emotional state. It is very difficult to meaningfully increase happiness through external means.
Yeah, kind of that, but it goes deeper. It actually reminds me of one of Agent Smith's monologues in The Matrix.
Did you know that the first Matrix was designed to be a perfect human world where none suffered, where everyone would be happy? And it was a disaster. No one would accept the program. Entire crops were lost. I believe that as a species, human beings define their reality through misery and suffering.
I think people need a purpose for their existence, and I don't see why that would change in the afterlife. And most people derive purpose from facing and overcoming challenges. So if you have no challenges, it's hard to care about your existence. There's no motivation or reason to improve yourself or explore new ideas. So even after people pass their morality tests, they're still going to end up feeling lost and unsatisfied, even though all their needs are met. In the show, this is resolved by giving the residents of the good place a way to end their existence if they choose to.
Every human is a little bit sad all the time because you know you're going to die. But that knowledge is what gives life meaning.
The way to restore meaning to the people in the good place is to let them leave.
So we have an idea. We're going to set up a new kind of door, somewhere peaceful, so that when you feel happy and satisfied and complete and you want to leave the good place for good, you can just walk through it and your time in the universe will end.
You don't have to go through it if you don't want to, but you can. And hopefully knowing that you don't have to be here forever will help you feel happier while you are.
And it works for the narrative, I guess, but it's kind of a cop-out. Like, you live this hard life and you finally make it to heaven and you get to do everything you ever dreamed of doing, and then when you get bored, you explode yourself into cosmic dust to avoid becoming a pleasure zombie. And by the way, humans fear death because it can come at any time, whether we're ready for it or not. If you get to choose when you go, then you're not really simulating the human experience. If people truly want to stop existing, then yeah, they should have the choice. But isn't the whole point of paradise that you get to live and be happy forever without the suffering of the natural world? We shouldn't need the expectation of death in order to enjoy the afterlife. Like, what's the point of paradise if you're just gonna die again anyway? And that brings me to the medium place. Mindy St. Clair is the sole resident of the medium place. It was pretty much created for her. Apparently her actions indirectly caused so much good in the world that it completely offset the fact that she was kinda not a good person.
I was a hotshot corporate lawyer in the 1980s. I only cared about making money and doing cocaine. And I was pretty crappy to my family as well. But one night, I had an epiphany, right? I needed to do something good with my life. So I drew up plans for this foundation that would help kids all over the world, would advance human rights, revolutionize agriculture, and just improve every nation and every society in every possible way.
You were pretty coked up, huh?
Oh yeah, man, I was flying high. It was so awesome. But you're not gonna believe this. I followed through.
So the medium place is described as eternal mediocrity. But based on what we know about the good place and the bad place, and just the very loose rules of the afterlife on this show, the medium place might actually be the best of the three options. Hear me out. Everything in the medium place is designed to be medium from Mindy's perspective. Not too good and not too bad.
We got you your favorite beer.
Yeah, but it's always warm.
On your jukebox, you'll find every song ever sung.
Yeah, by the Eagles, and it's only the live versions. Also, there's some spoken word poetry from William Shatner. It's deeply terrible.
But I contend that medium things can still be rewarding. Making videos like this is actually a pretty medium experience. There are parts of it that I love, like writing and coming up with ideas, and parts of it that I don't love, like setting up equipment and reading unhinged comments. Some of y'all need Jesus. But overall, I find the whole thing very rewarding, and it feels good to me when I face and overcome challenges during the process. And I hope I still get to do this in the afterlife.
Of course.
In the medium place, Mindy has a pretty nice house, all things considered, in a beautiful area. We know that Mindy was a city girl because we learned the cause of her death.
I went straight to the bank, I withdrew my life savings, and I was gonna start that charity.
Good for you.
And then I immediately fell into subway tracks and was electrocuted by the third rail. Ooh.
So maybe this idyllic country scenery is her version of medium? But from where I'm standing, it looks like you can't really complain. It seems very peaceful. Nobody ever bothers her, so she just walks around naked and does her gardening, among other activities.
If you'll excuse me, it's my masturbating time.
And crucially, there's really nothing in the rules that is stopping her from taking steps to improve or change her situation. For example, the first time we see Mindy's house, there are just a few sunflowers out front. But when we visit it again sometime later, the garden is fuller, there's more decoration, and the house just feels more lively and cheerful because Mindy put in the work to make her environment more pleasant. I guess the main argument against Mindy's medium place would be that it's probably kind of boring. There's very little in the way of entertainment, and she's just alone for eternity. When I was younger, that would definitely sound awful, but now it kind of sounds pretty chill, honestly. I feel like I could get used to that.
Thought you'd want company after being here alone for so long.
No.
And true long-lasting boredom is something that is kind of going extinct these days thanks to these bad boys. Ooh, they let me have my phone in the afterlife. Awesome.
Calls and texts only.
What? How am I gonna get my Reddit karma?
The internet is only available in the bad place.
Honestly, that makes sense. But following up on what I was saying before, even though boredom is typically considered an unpleasant feeling, it's actually good for us. Boredom is like a disappointed dad telling you to go do something with your life. Stop sitting running around and go do something that fulfills you. But ironically, if we never feel that boredom to begin with, we're much less likely to actually go do those things. We can distract our boredom by looking at social media all day or other quick doses of dopamine like gambling or drugs, but in those cases, we're also killing our imagination and ironically making the problem even worse.
And the more stimulation we have, the more we seek. The more novelty we have, the more we need, because it's no longer novel.
Most of us come up with our best ideas when we allow our minds to wander, when we're taking a shower or taking a walk or even just relaxing. I came up with some of my best video ideas when I forgot to bring my phone to the toilet.
Yes. There is evidence that humans show increased creativity after periods of boredom, as well as increased generosity towards others.
What my research in the book has shown is that there's a lot of links between creativity and boredom. The more what I've done in my own research at my university is that the more bored we get, the more creative we become.
Yeah, so if my medium place is kind of boring, that's not necessarily a negative. And Mindy does chase that instant dopamine gratification, which likely has something to do with her boredom. And you know, it's the afterlife. Let her have some fun every now and then.
Not the type of rail I thought was gonna kill me, because I love cocaine. Do you have any?
But we see a small example of how productive and creative she can be if she allows herself to be inspired. All that said, on the show at least, there's really no one enforcing anything. Mindy is meant to be alone, but people visit and stay with her several times. That's how we meet her in the show, because she is visited by the protagonist. It doesn't seem like Mindy is able to leave the medium place without someone helping her, and also she doesn't get a Janet, which is like a magic personal assistant that can get you any information or object that you want.
I'm Janet. I'm the informational assistant here in the Good Place.
She's like this walking database. You can ask her about the creation of the universe or history.
Oh, there was a guy who lived in Avondale, Arizona around 2002. His name was Kevin Peltonic. Is he gay?
No.
So if she wanted company or extra stuff, she just kind of have to hope that somebody randomly stops by. We don't get too many details about Mindy's day-to-day life. We just know that it was designed to be medium from her perspective. But maybe that's enough. She can't die because she's already dead. She probably can't get sick. She's safe, and she doesn't have to worry about food, money, or shelter. Most of the things I can think of that stress me out right now are taken care of in the medium place. Probably the biggest issue is that she's all alone, and social interaction is usually described as a basic human need, just like food and shelter. Is isolation a necessary aspect of the medium place?
Yes.
Oh, no, that's the thing about medium places. It has to be tailored to what's medium for the individual. So if you're all together, it ain't medium.
In all honesty, the lack of social interaction might be a deal breaker for the medium place. I think most people would probably want to spend the afterlife with their friends and family. So I have a pitch, a medium place community, just like all the other neighborhoods we've seen on the show, except not a secret torture experiment and not a mind-eating pseudo-utopia. Just like that scene where they all went to the good place and it magically combined all their favorite things into one party, you could just average out the mediums of all the residents of the neighborhood. It'd probably end up looking pretty similar to life on Earth, except without all the inequality.
The details can be discussed.
So the physical needs are taken care of, and the social needs could be if you accept my proposal, but there is one more thing that humans need, and I think this is where the medium place is going to shine. It's the need for self-actualization, having values, having a purpose, the desire to become the best version of yourself. This is impossible in the good place because we need challenges in order to care about our purpose, and there are no challenges in the good place. In the good place, you could just wish to have the most delicious food ever made. In the medium place, you gotta learn how to cook. The good place is mostly just eternal bliss, but in the medium place, people experience a wide variety of emotions, which is gonna lead to way better art, by the way. To me, the best afterlife is a place where we can still learn new things about ourselves, where we can still evolve and level up, because we don't really get enough time to do that in life. I'm 40 and I barely understand how to be a person. I think in their pursuit of a funny gag, the writers of The Good Place actually came up with an interesting idea. A medium place, an afterlife that kind of resembles life on Earth, except all your needs are met. It's not a perfect paradise. You don't get everything you want. You gotta work on your garden instead of it just magically being there. And because of that, you actually have motivation to improve and learn stuff. And you're actually free to do so because there are no bills. On the show, they call it medium, but I call it balance.
Your input has been noted.
Wait, well, I didn't make my official choice yet. I still want to talk about the neighborhood thing.
Cycle number 11815 complete.
What does that mean?
Stand by. The next cycle will begin shortly.
Next cycle? Am I gonna get to go to the medium place?
Something like that. But I enjoyed your video, as always. Hello, Kevin. I regret to inform you that you are dead.